So the other thing you know about these is they're magnetic. And the reason they're magnetic is to teach kids that we need to make relationships between and among ideas. And the magnets remind you of that. So when you do this, you can say, okay, well, let me do a different one. So say we're talking about, actually, I should leave that. So let's say this still says justice. And she has to learn who is Rosa Parks because she's studying civil rights. And I can say to her, okay, we have these two ideas that you're studying, and you know that they're related somehow, and what you're studying is how they're related. So we can stick them together, and by doing that in her head, she's actually relating them, co-locating them in her head. And I can say, well, how are these related? And she can say, well, Rosa Parks struggled for justice, or something like that. And we can say, okay, well, that's interesting. So then you can take another block, which will represent the relationship. And you learn about polarity too, by the way. So this block now represents the relationship between two ideas. And what she's learned without realizing it is that it's equally important to study the relationship between two concepts as it is the concepts themselves. I don't know if Derek told you this, but if you think about like graduate work, inevitably what we study for 6 or 7 years to great pains is the relationship between two ideas, not the two ideas in and of themselves. So this is a good skill for kids to learn early on in their life, is that relationships have the same structure of any other idea. A relationship is a distinct idea just as much as Rosa Parks or justice is. And the other thing that's kind of cool about the relationship part is you can also take two ideas that seem totally unrelated. So for example, if I write, I can't do this sideways, ocean. I did this with my daughter actually when we were making a video for the company. And I said, okay, here are two ideas that seem totally unrelated. What's the relationship between Rosa Parks and ocean? And without missing a beat, she looked at me and she goes, that's easy. They're both made up of water. And I said, holy, you're a genius. And I said, yeah, they are, because I thought she would say Rosa Parks swims in the ocean or blah, blah, blah. So, you know, it helps them to relate ideas that they wouldn't otherwise relate, or look for different relationships between ideas.